Do you know what I love?
The holidays.
And do you know what I love even more than the holidays?
A masterpiece. That's why I'm gonna spend the rest of this video playing one of my favorite games of all time. So global warming does exist. Who would have thought?
Damn it!
What am I gonna do for this holiday special if I can't play a masterpiece?
In exchange for a masterpiece, you must play a masterpiece.
Wii Sports? This is barely even a game, much less a masterpiece.
Silence! You must find out on your own what makes Wii Sports a masterpiece to truly find the meaning of Christmas.
What the fuck does this have to do with Christmas? Okay, why not?
Wii Sports has grown to be one of the most fondly remembered games of all time. However, for someone with no prior knowledge of its legacy, it's kind of hard to pinpoint the exact reason for its overwhelming relevancy and love to this day. With videos getting millions of views and people wanting a port of this 15-year-old game to the Switch. And I took it upon myself to look back to truly figure out how and why it became an all-time classic.
So hello everyone, this is the Glass Half Full, and join me on my quest to find why Wii Sports is a masterpiece. With every masterpiece, there's a backstory. So I feel like I need to talk about how Wii Sports was made in the first place. Now it's easy for me to just go on Wikipedia and just read out its development process, but that's fucking boring, and who the hell would watch that? Compared to a live reenactment of the conference where Wii Sports was first conceived. So join me on
A brief history.
Alright, everyone, listen up, listen up. We got 1 week to unveil our new console at E3. But we got a problem. We have no games for it. So, what can we do to start a new gimmick? I mean console. You, go. But sir, we already have Twilight Princess coming out for the... Are you an idiot? That game is already coming out for the GameCube. Why buy a whole new console for a game when it's already coming out for a previous console? That's such a stupid idea. We should never, ever, ever do that again. Any smart ideas? You, go! Alright, hear me out everyone, hear me out. What does everyone like? Sports. So what if we make a game that simulates a sport, but the controller we have, the remote, it like acts like the equipment for the game. So like a tennis racket is the remote, and like a baseball bat is like the remote.
Or a hockey stick.
For the love of God, can you stop talking? Or a bowling ball. Or a bowling ball! You're a genius! This sounds perfect, but we need a name. I mean, it's just a bunch of different sports, so we could just keep it simple and call it sports. I don't know. We need something exciting, something that sells a console. Something like Wii Sports.
You are a goddamn genius.
What the? Okay, I guess it kind of makes sense. But this is a one-time thing. We can't just put the word Wii in every game we make. It just becomes pointless and tacky. Sorry, what was that?
A brief history.
Yup. Completely accurate. I should also mention the use of Mii characters in this game, opposed to regular-looking human characters you can take control of.
Originally, the plan was to use the cast of Mario, but since that franchise already has its own subgenre of sports games, Nintendo decided it was easier and more simple to use Miis. Because if you really boil it down, the Miis in this game are just one big oval, a rectangle that dips in a little bit, and 2 circles. And bam, I just made a Mii. Look at that. And whether because of time constraints or laziness, these designs don't look like anything special. But they're actually pretty genius. They're simple enough so a child can draw them, but easily distinguishable and different, so they won't just blend into every other human-like character in sports games. Kind of like Kirby or Steve, for example. Upon release, Wii Sports received an incredible amount of positive reception and even went on to become the most sold game for a singular platform of all time. This is beyond stellar and really goes to show how massive this game was at the time. So that must have meant that Wii Sports was just that good, and not because it was sold with every Wii console. Booting up this game for the first time really is nothing special. There's no flashy intro or animated cutscene, just kinda tells you to press A and B to start, which is one button more than usual actually. And after that, we're carried to the menu screen. And that's it. This is the entire game. 5 game modes and like whatever these are. Sure, it's simple to navigate through, but it just feels so lifeless and barren.
But what about the sport? Surely the UI is so simple. All the time and effort went to making these game modes as best they possibly be and stand out from the usual way you play it, right? Right?
Well, first off, we have tennis, where you can play by yourself or someone else on your team, and you use the Wii Remote as a tennis racket. So basically, it's just tennis. I mean, there's a power ranking, I guess, where every time you beat a CPU, your ranking goes up, and the more you win, the harder CPU gets. In a King's Court kind of style. But yeah, that's it. That's the whole game mode. Okay, maybe that wasn't too impressive, but how about baseball?
Where you use a Wii Remote, get this, as a baseball bat and a glove.
There's also a power ranking as well that works the exact same as tennis. Moving on, we have bowling. Now this one's really cool because instead of a power ranking, you just shoot the bowling ball like 10 times. Oh, but there's this cool challenges where there's like 100 pins or 1 pin and you gotta knock them down. Oh, but there's this really cool animation where you throw the bowling ball backwards and everyone else in the back jumps in a funny way.
Alright, time for our favorite sport, golf. It's golf, alright. Okay, but trust me, the last sport makes up for all of this, and it's boxing. There's so many cool things you can do to spice up the gameplay. Let's play some now. It's just fucking boxing!
Damn, not one remotely new thing that really sells you on these game modes. It just feels so simple and basic. At least the controls are good. Until your remote says fuck you and there's a little opposite thing you want to. Just please hit the baseball for.
But how about some graphics? A game can suck literal dong, but if it looks pretty, it gets a pass. Wii Sports does not get that pass.
Just look at my lifeless me, just staring into the abyss on an empty field or a hollow tennis court, just waiting for death to. Okay, at least try animating a crowd.
Oh, and there's multiplayer, I guess, but it's kind of insulting the game. Just assumes you have friends.
Huh. I just covered the entirety of the game, and there's not much to say other than that's sports in game form.
Oh, I should also mention the soundtrack, I guess, but the whole game's been so simple and basic, I don't expect much from.
It literally feels like every single piece of music in this game was specifically made to massage that one part of my brain. There's a different piece of music for every single sport, which include different endings or result music, and the mood's reflected on what kind of sport you're playing. Like for golf, it's all peaceful and relaxing, but you have boxing that goes like bow, 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 bow. Just it gets me so amped up. I just can't believe in a game so ordinary like this, the music is just so top notch.
But in the end, music cannot carry this game alone, which just brings me back to my first question. After looking at this game extensively, talking about the game modes, the menu screens, to even the graphics, I think I finally found my conclusion. And that is, I have no fucking clue! Seriously! Coming out of this game, all I see is a glorified tech demo. A tech demo with no story, basic gameplay, and absolutely zero interesting mechanics that make it stand out compared to other sports games. And in some cases, it's even more bare than that. And a surprisingly good soundtrack that should have been another game that's not this one. So yeah, I give up. Wii Sports is nothing but a simple and accessible packed-in bundle game with easier controls that can be played by anyone from a kid to a senior to a casual to hardcore gamer and be enjoyed. God damn it, was that easy?
There's a word I keep using in this video, and it's the word simple. And Wii Sports embodies that adjective, but in a good way. Before the Wii was released, there was always a big disconnect between gamers and non-gamers. And with Nintendo's cartoony style, it was hard for newcomers to jump onto their consoles without feeling alienized, especially for those who are older. And that's why Nintendo went super casual at the start of the generation to appeal to a market not really touched on before. And that's why making the controller as recognizable as a remote seems like a logical option. But there needed to be some type of way to showcase the potential of the Wii to the masses, in an easy to understand way. And that's why using recognizable real life sports was one of the best ways to do it. And like it or not, Wii Sports is probably the best launch title of all time because it truly showed why the Wii is different from everything else on the market. Sure, it doesn't look the best, and sure, it doesn't have a captivating story or appeals to nostalgia, and to some people, it's barely even a video game. But look at it this way, Breath of the Wild is a better game than Wii Sports, but Wii Sports is a better launch title. Because although a PS4 would never have Breath of the Wild, it's not like the game was specifically designed to be only playable on the Switch. Wii Sports, on the other hand, was made that only the Wii could do it justice, and no other competition can recreate its style. I mean, they tried, but they didn't come close. And with how unique and gimmicky the Wii was, the appeal of Wii Sports wasn't, hey, I can play tennis with a remote. It was, hey, I can play tennis with a remote that simulates playing in real life with motion controls, which was a really novel concept at the time. And with the game just being about regular everyday sports, most of the entertainment value came with playing with other people, because in the end, no one's gonna remember how flimsy controls could be or how generic looking the game is. But they will remember the human-to-human connection of having fun swinging a remote and beating each other's high scores in bowling, because that's what the game is all about.
As a second generation kid, my parents never experienced a big gaming craze of the 90s, so there's always a huge disconnect whenever they saw me playing the latest Nintendo game. But the one true exception was Wii Sports, because that was something they understood and was super easy to pick up and play, making it for some of the only video game memories I've ever had with my parents. I feel like that exact same memory goes for a lot of families with the Wii.
And seeing how much gaming has changed nowadays, from DLC, microtransactions, unfinished products, originality, and many other controversies I should just stop listing now, it was nice to look back and think about the one true thing video games are supposed to be: fun. And Wii Sports is the first game I think about that embodies this ideology. It's not revolutionary by any means, but it helped create some of the most endearing and wholesome moments in gaming. So perhaps, in a weird way, Wii Sports is a masterpiece. A masterpiece of simplicity.
It's always weird to truly rate video games nowadays. Everyone has a different opinion on what games should be like. Whether they're more into story or whether they like playing online with their friends really dictates how they feel about a game. But if the gameplay is just fun and helps distract you from your everyday hardships for a couple hours, all those other factors become meaningless. And that's why we just love video games in the first place. Well, that's all I have for now. It's been the glass half full. And if you excuse me, I'm gonna go back playing Wii Sports. God damn it, global warming!
Oh, and Matt. Yeah, Matt's a big reason too.